Hey, what's up? It's Fuel Your Life Friday. Let's go. Hello, friends, and happy Friday. You know, part of why I became an entrepreneur was the freedom that came along with it. I don't even think I fully leaned into that freedom until about 3 years ago. And mind you, I'm about 9 years in on my journey. Even as an entrepreneur, I would hold on to all of this guilt. I set up my own expectations of myself, and I had a lot of force without a lot of grace. And what I mean by that is I always felt like I had to stay busy. I had to be working. I had to be hustling. What I learned over time is part of the freedom of being an entrepreneur is you can truly choose your own schedule. Now, this may mean that your day ends at 3 when you pick up the kids from school, or maybe you're more of a night owl and you like to work late and sleep in even later. However you roll, it's cool. But you also need to remind yourself to take time off. And I mean off. With both of the births of my daughters, I never really took time off. With my first daughter, I was still in college and finals didn't wait for my recovery, so I went from giving birth to back in class within 3 weeks. With my second daughter, I took 1 week off of work. Now, I was already in my entrepreneur journey deep at that point. So 1 week off, and then I was back to doing client work. So silly, right? I look back and I'm just like, why? But now that I've grown a little, learned a lot, and I show up with more grace to myself than I ever have before, I learned that building time off into your business is essential. I mentioned on an episode, I think over summer, that I typically have a really chill summer when it comes to work. I know my kids are home for the most part, so I typically just don't host podcast conversations over the summer. And if I do, it's really early mornings before they're awake. What I would do instead is work on writing a new book or a new e-learning guide, something, or a course, something that is a little bit more think work and less me having to be present with someone else. But I don't really take off in the summer, right? I just dial back my workload, or it just looks different. In December, though, I take off. I have my calendar crossed off for an entire month, starting Friday, December 11th and ending on Monday, January 11th. Now, why do I do this? A few reasons. One, I love Christmas time. I love wrapping gifts. I love sitting my butt on the couch and binge watching Hallmark movies. Hate all you want, but it fuels my life. Now, allowing myself time to just be, especially during a typically very stressful time of the year for many, has been life-altering for me. Number 2, my kids are off for nearly 2.5 weeks of winter break. This year is a little bit different since the pandemic rocked their school's calendar, but normally their winter break is long, and as you know, I like to be off when my kids are off. And number 3, many people aren't really trying to do hard work or have in-depth conversations the week before Christmas until the week after New Year, so why force it? And number 4, I am always so pumped to return after a mental break. I have more clarity and energy. It's incredibly revitalizing. My why is pretty evident, but my how may be unclear for many. Everyone's business and life looks different, but the prep work can all be done the same. So for the podcast, my goal is to have all of December and January's episodes recorded, edited, and scheduled before November 30th. That means that I'm hustling right now. I'm doing 2 times the amount of conversations that I normally would be doing per month. I'm scheduling social media posts in advance, and I'm already setting up my autoresponder for my email for that time period because it just one more thing off my list, right, of like to do. So for my marketing clients, I'm pretty much doing the same. I'm scheduling ahead. I'm looking at their marketing content calendars and just making sure that everything that has to be done before the holidays is done. A month may feel like a lot to some. I think it goes by pretty fast, but if it feels better for you, consider taking off a Thursday to Monday once a month, every month. Or maybe you just want to take off every 2 weeks. Or maybe you're building time off into your calendar to have a month off every single quarter. Think about your life and think about how you really want it to look like. The emphasis here is taking that break, allowing yourself the pause and the space to rejuvenate your energy, to not do and to just be. So when is the last time you truly took off from your business? Are you still living a 9-to-5 life even though you're a business owner? Or are you truly leaning into the freedom-based lifestyle and living it to the max? These are some things for you to think about this weekend to make sure that you're being intentional with your time. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, give the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. I'll see you back here next week for another episode, but until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.